I was distracted by this conversation. And as I drove by this humongous sign, I didn't see it. I missed the point. I missed the area where I was supposed to turn. I still could have talked about ice cream after I did the turn. We still could have discussed and dialogued. But I was so distracted by something small. And here's Martha distracted by preparing and work. I have a feeling that many of us can relate to this. I have a feeling that sometimes life just takes over. That working for the church sometimes takes over. We need to make sure all the programs are in place. We need to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. We need to make sure that all the paperwork is just right. We need to make sure that everyone is there at the right time, at the right place, doing the right things. And before we know it, we find ourselves distracted. We find ourselves so worried about church work that we are not attracted by the church itself. We are so distracted by trying to do good things that we aren't attracted to the purpose for why we're doing these things. All those things mean nothing if the goal is passed right by. And sometimes it takes less work than what we think. Because when Mary and Martha were there, what did he say? He said, Martha's doing the right thing. She's doing the better thing. She's at where you need to be. At my feet, listening and being attracted by my words and by my face and by me. It happens almost every day in life that we're distracted by something that means nothing when we should be doing something very important. I was at the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is beautiful, it's huge, it's immense, it's wonderful. And as I'm at the Grand Canyon, there's a lot of visitors, there's a lot of tourists there, there's a lot of things going on. And I realized when I first got there, there was a lot of people. I looked out and I was like, oh wow, that's amazing. And I started to realize something, that I started to look around, I started to observe people. I like to observe people. I'm observing them. And it's a little chilly, I didn't have a jacket. And towards the end of the day, I'm starting to get real tired, my feet are hurting. And as we get towards the end of the day, as it's time to leave, I start to realize something. You know what? I haven't really enjoyed this as much as I should. I've enjoyed it, I've seen the great things, I've taken some great pictures. But I really haven't sat down to really take in God's glory. So 5 minutes before I go, what do? I sit down and take in God's glory. Something that I also find wonderfully hilarious is I went through my first set of graduations here at Ekamai, and I find it very interesting. The kindergartners are all dressed up in robes. That's awesome. But as I see them, I see all the parents with cameras. All of them have cameras, and there's more people with cameras than not. And you know where all the camera people go? Up to the front. So they're all like right here, blocking everyone's view. And so you're trying to see in the back, because you don't have a camera, but all the parents have cameras, and they're entitled to it, sure. They're all sitting there with cameras. I don't know if you've ever tried to take a picture or take video of something, and then try to enjoy also what's going on. It's very hard. I find myself, if the thing's very engaging, I'm looking at it, and then I'm off over here with the camera. Or if I'm at the camera, right on it, I'm not getting the full picture. I'm not getting the full excitement of what's going on, and I miss the enjoyment that I should be having doing it. And so I'm sitting here at this kindergarten graduation, and I'm looking at all these parents, and I'm starting to think to myself, you know, they're distracted by pictures. They're distracted by the videos. Sure, it's going to be nice to have them later and to be able to look, but there's something about being in the moment that you can never get back. There is something about being right there, present. Martha had her pictures in her brain. Maybe no, they didn't have cameras, but maybe she had painting. I don't know. Or what if she had a camera? She took a picture of Jesus, but still continued to work. It would never have been the same as Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus, hearing every word, seeing every look on his face, looking deep into his eyes. While Martha was distracted doing her work, or taking pictures, or not realizing how beautiful the moment was. It wasn't too long ago. I was sitting in a worship. I was sitting at the worship, sang some songs. Someone came up to speak, and the person started to speak. I crossed my arms. I looked intently, and I wasn't getting anything out of the talk. In my brain, I was thinking about something else. See, the person I was giving the worship, I knew something about. Something that wasn't quite right. And I'm looking at this person as they're giving the worship, and I don't hear a thing. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, what is this person doing up here? Ugh. Why did they choose this person for the worship? Why this person? Why don't they just go sit down, have someone else do it? It'd be more meaningful. And about with 2 seconds left of his worship, so too late to recover, the Lord hit me over the head. And he said, hey, what are you doing? You're being distracted by what this person has done and not attracted by me, which is what this person is talking about. You're being distracted by your own condemnation of this person and not attracted by my forgiveness of this person. You are distracted by something that's not important, John. And you are not being attracted by what is ultimately the most important. To be honest, this is where this sermon comes from. It comes from that moment when I sat there on that chair. And I had to humbly pray to God. This was my exact prayer and nothing else. Lord, help me not to be distracted by others, but to be attracted by you. And to be honest with you, I've had to pray that many times since then. On a weekly, sometimes daily basis. Because I have some issues. We all have issues. We all have wonderful issues. And it's something that I need to remind myself all the time, that if you knew everything about me there was to know, right now you'd all probably walk out of there and say, this guy has nothing to say to me. If I knew everything about you, I might not be talking to you. But hopefully that's not really true. Hopefully what really is true is that we're focused in on the right thing, that we are attracted by God and not distracted by each other's sins or shortcomings. Because each one of us has the glory of God. Each one of us was created by God. Each one of us is His handiwork. Each one of us God came to save and die for. He didn't come to save and die for me, for all of us. So why must I be the one worried about what you are doing? We sometimes close our ears to the gospel of Christ and the things He is saying because we don't agree with our fellow brother. Let's go to Luke 6.